Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you in another video. All right, so I'm walking down the street, headed back home to watch the Lakers. Seems like I'll be on time. Game starts in about an hour, and I'm about, let's say, 45 minutes away. They give me enough time to quickly jump in the house, jump in the shower, and then jump into the game. So, yeah, as long as I keep up the pace, I should be fine. But, yeah, man, looking forward to this one. I was happy we got a victory last night. Sometimes you need to be able to mess up and get a W, because a lot of times you're going to play well and still lose. So that'll make up for it. You know what I mean? This is a game that I could argue before the game started, you definitely penciled in as a W. By the time the game ended, you definitely thought you deserved to lose. So I guess it balances itself out, more or less. But you're going to have games against teams like the Celtics and, you know, the Thunder, where you're not going to win, even when you play well. So you definitely want to get the ones that you play sorry and still get the victory. And, you know, I see that I probably should have checked, see if there was any update to the injury report. I'm sure it's come out. I just didn't check, so forgive me. I'm still in the dark. I should be coming here with some updates, but there's none to give you. But, you know, I think it would be easier if I had an educated guess on what D'Lo was sick with, what's going on with D'Lo. But I'm telling you, a part of me thinks that the Lakers, and maybe some other teams as well, are sitting starters on purpose around this time of year to play guys that they're looking to either trade or get assessments for to figure out if they want to hold on to them or whatever. So it's just a little thing that I'm paying attention to. Certain players are out for a game or two, and then you're seeing players that they don't often showcase getting opportunities. So it's like that seems to me by design, to be honest with you. And I don't think everybody's hurt. I know Austin's hurt, but D'Lo, probably just regular wear and tear, or if he has some type of flu or something, that would be the thing. But I don't know. I really have no idea. But I can tell you this, I'm very happy that we're getting some young players some opportunities, and I hope that we can do the same thing for Quincy Olivari tonight if he's going to be a game-time decision, from which I understand he may very well be. So, you know, at some point in time, the Lakers are going to have to put him out there. He's really good, man. That's what it really comes down to. We all know that at this point. And, you know, I just wish they would be able to give him the minutes that ultimately you would give to a player that you think could be really, really good. You know, because I don't know what constitute those types of respects, quote unquote. I have no idea. What makes one rookie more important than another rookie in this league? There's no way of really understanding how this goes. Is it left up to the coaches? Is it up to the organizations? I wish the NBA was a bit more transparent from franchise to franchise to let us know how they operate, so that we know how best to assess certain things that they do. You know, because I have no idea what makes it so that certain players get more cachet than others. It certainly is an upside, not anything that I'm assessing in a lot of cases. So, you know, it just is what it is. Guys get lucky sometimes. That's why I tell people, you know, I say this into the camera all the time, you know, don't be discouraged if you're a prospect and you don't get drafted in the, you know, the first 3 picks or whatever, because it's not really always about where you know, land in the draft, but where you land in reality as it pertains to your team. If you don't have opportunities to play, because some guys get drafted to the wrong spot and now they're playing behind a bunch of people that they're ultimately better than. So, you know, yeah, does it sound great to be in the first overall pick and what have you? Sure. But if you're just trying to make sure you showcase what you can do, sometimes you do much better falling to a certain spot, however that goes. Look at a guy like Ryan Dunn in Phoenix. He fell to the second round. He's playing a lot more than a guy like Rob Dillingham. You know what I mean? He's getting a chance to showcase himself a lot more than a guy like Donovan Clingan, who's playing behind Ayton. Like, you know what I mean? It's just opportunities are what you ultimately really want if you're ready to play. So that's my thing. It's just unfortunate some guys land in the wrong spot and they get off to the wrong start for their careers because of it. One thing I think the Lakers could talk about, which I think intriguing a little bit, is just hearing that Brandon Ingram signed with Clutch over the past couple of days. He's another one of those guys who's been out, but I'm not really sure with what. He goes down with some type of injury of some sort, and now all of a sudden he's too hurt to play, but he's not too hurt to sit down with Clutch and sign with them. So I don't know, man. With all that's going on in New Orleans with Zion, it's rather interesting to see what they decide to do as a franchise, because they really got off to a very slow start, but they have so much high-level talent and have discovered they have a lot of bench talent too, to where you can look up and see them totally going on a fantastic run to ultimately make the play-in tournament this year, and then have plenty enough talent to get out of it too and make the playoffs. So, or they can just do what Memphis did last year, tank, and get another nice draft pick to go along with their already rich franchise talent pool. So, I think they're in a good spot to really do whatever they want. And with a guy like Brandon Ingram seemingly being somebody they don't want to sign, him signing with Clutch is interesting to me, because I think that, you got to look at him as a expiring contract that you could pick up as a rental, maybe give away some stuff that ultimately you don't love, bring him in for half a season, and potentially have him ready for the playoffs. And then, of course, you can negotiate with him if you want, or just let him walk and have that money coming off the books. So I don't know that if I'm going after Brandon Ingram, I necessarily am going after him with the intention of just re-signing and having intentions of paying him what he wants. I can still want Brandon Ingram's expiring contract for the second half of my season. If I'm a team like Houston, or a team like, it's a lot of teams. Hell, the Lakers, to be honest with you. Even though I don't think we have the trade to get him here that would ultimately make us happy and make New Orleans happy. But, that's the point. He is a player that you can bring on and make your team significantly better. Maybe even make a run at the playoffs or make a run at the championship, depending on who you are. I don't really have a team in mind right now that I think he would fit on, that I think is a contender. But there are teams out there that you can go to as a rental and really make a difference. Upgrade their shooting small forward position. So yeah, man, I'm just trying to brainstorm, try to figure out which team that would be. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I really don't know. There's a lot of teams that I think could fit him in have already, they're going to have to move some pieces around that ultimately probably take away from other areas of their roster in order to match his salary for the short term. But if you're trying to get off a contract that ain't no good, it might be worth it to do. A team like Houston makes a lot of sense to me in a way, in the sense that they can move on from like a Dylan Brooks or something like that, move on from his contract. They got plethora of young players and picks to make that make sense to the Pelicans if they want to do it. And they can bring B.I. in and just have him as a yet another lengthy young player that can kind of complement already what they have. But they don't actually need to do that with the depth that they have. But if you want to upgrade like a Dylan Brooks to a much higher level talent, like that's something they can do and get off a contract they have no business holding on to. I think like Charlotte's another team that could potentially be like that. He's from the North Carolina area, so it might make sense for Charlotte to try to swing for the fences with him. Maybe move on from a guy or two of a contract they don't like. I know that Grant Williams just went down, so that was tough on them. So, maybe they throw in a pick or two and maybe give up a salary of some sort that they don't want or something like that. And bring in B.I. and then have B.I. next to LaMelo, next to Brandon Miller, and all of a sudden they're a force in the Eastern Conference. Miles Bridges, I don't know if they want to hold on to Miles Bridges. He's having some injury issues. I mentioned this maybe before, maybe a week and a half before he got hurt, that I thought he wasn't in good shape. And that, with the type of talent that he has, the type of explosiveness that he brings to the table, him not being in shape is a dangerous thing, in my opinion, for his legs, for his overall game. And sure enough, he ended up getting hurt, and he's not been able to really perform this year. And they got him on a brand new contract of some sort. Maybe I move that for Brandon Ingram. That might be the move. So these are the type of things I'm just considering. At the end of the day, I think Brandon Ingram's a comfortable piece, especially expiring. I can help teams that can get, some salary off of their books that they ultimately don't want, who have plethora of picks to maybe trade, so that they can throw one or two at the Pelicans and make it make sense, and just free up some cap space in the short term. So that's what I think should be done. A team like Philadelphia also, they got some contracts they need to get rid of. And, that Paul George contract is crazy, man. If I could get up off of that, if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers, I would do that in a heartbeat. In an absolute heartbeat. And Paul George still has the cachet to where a team like Sacramento or somebody would probably still want him, you know what I mean? One of these super small market teams that can't do nothing in free agency, they may be willing to take on a Paul George. I think of a team like Indiana, where he's from initially, in this league rather. Would they be interested in a Paul George reunion of some sort? Maybe not on that contract, but like you can sweeten it up if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, give away one of them future picks from like 2031 or something like that, and come up off of that horrible contract right away before it becomes mature. I think it makes so much sense to do that if you're Philadelphia, with the path that they're now on, with the two players at the backcourt, Maxey and McCain. You want flexibility, maybe get them another young running mate instead of having them run around with a bunch of old guys who are aging. They're going to cap off their ceiling. Joel Embiid coming in and out of the damn lineup. So, I would love to do that if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers. I would have no problem moving Paul George for like a Brandon Ingram or something like that. That would make me very happy if I'm them. So like, I don't know what teams really want to do. A lot of times, things you think teams want to do, maybe they don't see it that way. I've been wrong about stuff like this as it pertains to what I think is more valuable to a team. A lot of owners really genuinely want a name on their team, like a big name free agent or to sign with them. Not necessarily because he has anything left, but just so they can say they got a free agent to sign with. I just don't value that as much as I value the production on the floor and the upside of the contract, potential of being able to move it if I decide to, and how that looks going forward. Jeremy Grant is another guy that I think could be on the move, but like I said in a previous video about Jeremy Grant, as long as they want 2 first-round picks for him, it's gonna be hard to move him. Now, if they come off the desire to have picks and start valuing him like, say, Chicago values Vucevic, and start saying maybe 2 second-round picks, then they can move him right away. But as long as they're hell-bent on trying to sell him as a player who's better than he is, they're not gonna get what they need in trade there. They're not gonna move him. And so that's really what I think. I just think that the teams that are realistic in regards to their demands for their players, the teams that are not hell-bent on fleecing people, I think are the teams that will ultimately be pleased with being able to create flexibility and be able to get under the aprons and all that stuff. But the teams that want to stay hell-bent on keeping a high price tag on the things that they have, ultimately are going to find themselves in situations where not only are they not going to be able to move their player, but they're going to have a reputation as a team that's unserious about moving. And it's going to be, it's going to trickle down to things being difficult for them in the future, in my opinion. So I don't know how that looks to you guys as I assess that situation. I think about the Atlanta Hawks and how they were going to move DeJounte Murray to the Lakers and decided not to because they wanted to raise the price tag after reported agreements and stuff like that had it so that the Lakers could make the move without Austin Reeves, and then they decided they wanted Austin in the deal and all of that. It just gives them the reputation as a team that's not serious. Now, granted, they ended up moving DeJounte for Dyson Daniels, who has turned out to be a hell of a defensive player. In fact, he might be a running candidate for Defensive Player of the Year this year, believe it or not. But, when he was acquired, it wasn't understood that he was as valuable of a player as ultimately he's played himself up to be. How do you feel about that if you're Atlanta overall? That you got a piece that played up its value and ended up being more valuable with you than somewhere else makes you look like a genius. But the reality is, if you're assessing the trade, it's only a good trade because he did that. That he stayed the way that he would have been in New Orleans made it so that the trade wasn't really that great. If you're going to judge trades based on how guys ultimately perform and not what they're worth on trade day, then you can always talk your way into thinking you want to trade or lost a trade at any given point. But at the end of the day, I think that they could have got more for DeJounte Murray if they wouldn't have been so damn greedy with the Lakers. But we'll see how that pans out for them. They did get the Lakers pick out of that trade. So maybe you feel good about ultimately how that looks if you're the Atlanta Hawks. But You know, they reached for the stars, and you know, it worked out for them overall. I don't know that it works out for a team like Portland, who has Jeremy Grant priced all the way up in the sky. You know, I don't know. But when you look at, I don't know. I just think that the way Portland moved about moving Dame Lillard just kind of tells me that they don't have the greatest GMs in place, the greatest assessors of talent or assessors of production in place at the moment. When you consider they traded Dame Lillard for Jrue Holiday, and then turned around and trade Jrue Holiday for two hurt players, and Robert Williams and who was that they got? Malcolm Brogdon, who ended up walking away in free agency. To me, that signaled to me that Portland doesn't really know what the hell they're doing. First of all, they probably should have held on to Jrue Holiday. They shouldn't even moved him. But even more so, they should have found a better way to move Dame Lillard, or dare I say keep Dame Lillard. Because Dame Lillard still got enough in the tank to keep their franchise at least in playing tournament mode. And, you know, it's still early on Scoot Henderson, but it's not looking great right now. And they moved on from their Pantheon great player before he was done, so to speak, and brought them back a bunch of stuff that really ain't even in place to really do much. Robert Williams, he's playing well right now. How long do you expect Robert to stay healthy? You know, that's a real thing with him. So it's like, what did they actually get out of that? They gave up Dame Lillard for a bunch of stuff that kept them in the dust. They don't even have picks to show for it. Did they get any picks in that trade? Giving away Dame and didn't get no picks back? It's just... So when they talk about they want 2 picks for Jeremy Grant, I legitimately think they think that's what he's worth. And I legitimately think that I have no reason, based on what they've shown me, to have any faith in them and what they think. Essentially what I'm here to tell y'all. So that's really what I think there. I think that the Portland Trailblazers are a mess. I think the Donovan Clingan draft pick is turning out to be a mess. And it's not because I'm down on Donovan in any way. It's just because he's a center and you're already paying Ayton $150, $60 million and no path to really moving that contract. And then on top of that, if you were to move Ayton, what you find out about Clingan is that he's used to a lesser sample size of minutes. So a lot of what it is you were assessing him doing in college was done in small spurts, so to speak. And he's already injured. He's a non-offensive center that doesn't stretch the floor. I just hated that spot for him, and I hated him for them. Just not a good match. It's a great player, worthy of the 7th overall pick. Did great defensively, potentially as a prospect. But for their situation, as a deep tanking team that's like 2 or 3 real picks away from doing anything, and a couple bad contracts from actually being a reasonable rebuilding club, I just think they're in the dumps. They're in the dumps, man. I genuinely think they're in the dumps. As to where a team like Washington, they don't have too many bad contracts. The bad contracts they do have are attached to young players or guys that they think they can move, like Valanciunas and Jordan Poole. So it's like they got a plethora of roster spots to give to young prospects to just run. A guy like Bub Carrington can just have all the minutes in the world as a rookie to just do whatever he wants to do and develop. Same thing with Keyshawn George. They're just running. Sarr, they got those roster spots all to themselves. So they're going to develop together, and they're going to develop with plenty of minutes attached to their rookie seasons. That's the type of situation you want if you're like Portland. You don't want a Jeremy Grant contract. You don't want an Ayton contract. That stuff is garbage for what it is that you actually are, which is a tanking franchise with no path to any real wins. Why are you holding so tight onto win now basketball players, valuing them so high that no one would actually take their contract from you when this is the circumstance you're in? It's just backwards, man. It is just backwards. And Portland's going to suck for a long time because of it, in my opinion. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe they luck it out and get the best pick in the draft this year. Maybe walk away with a Pantheon level prospect like Ace Bailey or Cooper Flagg. But to be honest with you, I don't think they know what the hell they're doing. I don't think they know what they're doing in Portland. So that's my take on Portland, man. I don't love it. I like some of the players they got though. They got some nice young players, but their front office is a joke right now, and they got to figure themselves out. Same thing with Minnesota, man. I think Minnesota's in a weird spot. We talk a lot about them lately. They're in a strange spot because they do have a lot of talent. I think their team can be as good as it was last year, but they got to showcase some of those guys they got in the draft and stop making them wait to have opportunities. You know, their coach got them running a 7-man rotation, one of the best benches in the league. Man, it's just craziness. It's absolute craziness. A guy like Terrence Shannon is definitely ready to contribute to a basketball team. Rob Dilley was born to make shots and be a good executing player down the stretch of basketball games. You know what I mean? As I've said many times today on this channel, that I think Josh Minott is a player that's ready to break out. He just needs to get the hell out of there. You can give him a spot with 15, 20 minutes in a basketball game. I could argue he'll be a 30-point scorer in no time, based on what I saw in the preseason. You know, Luka Garza looked like he could have been one of the more improved players in this whole league. He ain't even getting no damn minutes. Turned his whole body around in terms of his conditioning just to sit on the back of a losing team's bench. I just hate so much what the Minnesota Timberwolves are doing with their roster right now. It's criminal. It's absolutely criminal, man. And as I tell people, man, while we're trying to get, the Lakers are trying to figure out who to give their first round pick to, Minnesota needs picks. Utah don't need no damn picks. Oh, that's why they're hoarding them. They're like, oh, give us 2 first-round picks for our center. Oh, hell no, I'm not giving you nothing. You got 100 first-round picks. You're going to take all the best talent in the league from here to Texas. I'm not doing a deal with you for nothing. Go to hell, Utah. That's exactly what I have to say to Utah Jazz. I don't want nothing they got. I don't care how many Laker fans disagree with me. I don't want nothing they got. Not for no first-round picks. No. But a team like Minnesota, they need first-round picks. I may be able to entice them into giving me Terrence Shannon and Luka Garza and Josh Minott. You know what I'm saying? I could probably get all 3 of them dudes if I give up a first-round pick. And you may say, well, they're not worth that. The hell they're not. With the opportunity I'm going to give them, they're going to play up that value quickly. You understand what I'm saying to you? That's 3 different prospects that could be taken in the first round. Terrence Shannon, these are prospects that could be taken in the first round if they were drafted today. That's what first round picks are actually worth. Prospects. People want to trade first round picks for superstars. First round picks represent young players. Give me young players for my young player prospect selector, so to speak, which is what a pick actually is. So, I'm not interested in trading first round picks for, you know, they're talking about, oh, give me a first round pick for Dorian Finney-Smith. Hell no. Dorian Finney-Smith is 106 years old. I'm not giving up no young prospect selector for him. Hell no. Give me somebody that's 21 years old for my pick. That's what makes real sense, to be honest with you. And we talk about it all the time. This ain't nothing new. But I really want the NBA to start thinking this way. If I'm gonna give up a first round pick, I'm gonna give up a first round pick to the Rockets, even though they have a bunch of picks, so that's not a great example of what it is I'm trying to be consistent in talking about. But to get some of that young talent in the back of their bench, give me Cam Whitmore. You know what I'm saying? Like literally. Give me Cam Whitmore and give me Reed Shepherd, and I'll give you first round picks. Because those guys are first round picks. Very recently. To the point where if they would have stayed in school, that's exactly what I'd use my pick on. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I think. I don't understand what the NBA is doing. You know, I'm a firm believer in old legs equals run down, tired legs. You know, guys, experience is not experience in this league. It's just old. And if you're lucky to find a guy who's able to perform, then cool. You know, it's not a perfect science. Sometimes Chris Paul, it turns out to be a good piece for you. You know what I mean? Sometimes you may be able to get something out of Jay Crowder, you know? But for me, I don't want nothing to do with neither one of them. Give me young players and let me get the upside that comes with that. And I'm gonna die on that hill, believe me. So, yeah, that's what I want people to understand. I'm not giving them no first round picks for Nick Richards, role-playing center. Hell no, bro, I'm not doing that. But if it's a need in 2024, that pick ain't gonna be relevant until 2031. By 2031, I got an entirely different set of circumstances, and me making decisions today that hurt those circumstances then is something that you can't help but regret when it come back around. There's no way you don't regret that. That's what I'm telling my Los Angeles Lakers people. There's no way you don't regret that. Especially when Anthony Davis is, 30 right now? He's undoubtedly going to be either retired at that point or on a different team. LeBron James is going to be long gone by then. What do you have at that point? What you have is a bad team, likely the need to tank. And in the presence of that being the reality of it, you end up finding out that your team has given away the pick that's going to make it so that you're able to do so. Back in 2024, just because they wanted to get themselves a freaking center. A center that's likely not going to be anything that year. 2031? And you trying to tell me you're trying to trade away your chance to bring in brand new talent that random year, for which is going to make up the stars of the future. You're going to give that to a team that already has 1 million of those so that you can get a center in 2024? I want people to really consider this. Why do you think people are demanding these picks from you? Because they can project how bad you're going to be those years. And they want the best talent, the super Wembanyama player that's coming out that year, to come to their team on your ineptitude. And you're going to allow them that opportunity because you want to complete your roster that may be good enough to possibly win the West. If you do it, I'm sorry, man, 2024 is not nearly as important, in my opinion, as not being completely awful and having nothing to show for it come 2029 and 2031. I'm sorry. You can't convince me that math makes any sense. Especially when I can't even tell you what type of draft that's going to be that year. How do I know that's not going to be the year that the next LeBron James is drafted? The next Wemby come out? The next Magic Johnson come out? You're giving away a pick that could draft that potential player in a year that is so far away from that time that you can't even project to what it's going to be. You can't even project it. You can't even project it. The next Shaquille O'Neal might be coming into the league that year. The next Luka Doncic could be coming in that year. The next Wemby, Giannis could be coming that year. And you're telling me you're going to give away that pick so that you can get some center that can block a few shots in 2024 that'll likely be gone by 2026. Come on, this is why the league wants you to give up them damn picks, Lakers. Because they can see that you're going to suck them damn years. That your stars are going to be gone. And because of all the things that you've mortgaged up until that point, you ain't going to be no good. Hell yeah, Danny Ainge's trying to continue to get you to give up them picks. Hell yeah, Brooklyn Nets want those damn picks. Because they know you're going to suck those years. And they're hoping you'll be so short-sighted that you just have to do it now. I have to do it now. I have to do it now. And all that type of weak, stupid-minded stuff right there that ultimately makes you a horrible basketball team in the future. I don't want to have no part in the future that these people are going to lead us to. I really don't. Trying to complete this team that we got right now. Well, Braun is going to be gone soon. Braun should have been gone yesterday. The hell they got to do with me giving away all the future talent that this team is going to be potentially drafting in the future? That's going to lead me into my next stage of greatness. Letting that crap go to the damn Utah Jazz. I'm not doing that. Letting that crap go to the OKC Thunder. No, man. No. Only for us to want to sign those guys 7 years later for $500 million on a bad contract. Nah, man. No. I'm too intelligent to even suggest that we do something that's stupid. And I think the rest of us need to start catching up to what it is I'm saying here, man. Stop looking to be so short-sighted and so eager to improve this year's team that you give away the future of your team, your talent, in years that you're not going to be any good in. The only reason why people want those picks so bad is because they know you're going to suck. And if you don't know that, then you're about to give away something very valuable, something very essential to the future of your franchise. Don't do it. The future's going to come around sooner than you think. And not only that, but if you want to mortgage those picks, let it be in the event that you lose LeBron James to retirement, that Anthony Davis moves on and what have you. That allow you those picks at that point, coupled with the picks that will replenish from there to go get your next superstar if for some reason you're not able to get him in free agency. Because you give away those picks now, guess when you can't trade them when that occurs. No, we don't have any picks between now and 2035 because we gave them all away to get a couple role players so that we can send LeBron out the right way. Man, I don't give a damn about that. You think for 1 second that makes any damn sense, and you're in the wrong place. Because that don't make no sense. No, I'm sorry. LeBron James is already 40 years old. He done had four championships, 5 MVPs. He don't need nobody to be mortgaging no future so that he can have an opportunity at another ring. There's no chasing when you've done what he's done. Let's just be honest. He don't need to chase a damn thing, and don't nobody need to be chasing nothing on his behalf. Let's just be real. Let's stop the cap. It's not like this is a guy that's going to end his career without a championship and we need to hurry up and get him one. He got plenty of them. Let's not do this. Let's not do this. So that you can get me a center? Are you crazy? But we need a bruising center. That bruising center is going to be bruised going up against people that are better than him, for which you're going to force him to guard. That bruising center ain't going to do nothing with Alperen Sengun. He ain't going to do nothing with Giannis Antetokounmpo. He ain't going to do nothing with Nikola Jokic. He ain't going to do nothing with the big men that are in this league that are really, really good. Y'all think Walker Kessler is going to ball out against Jokic? Are you stupid? No, he ain't about to do nothing against Jokic but get 8, just like everybody else does. That ain't going to save you. If Anthony Davis, the best big in the league, can't guard that man, what makes you think Walker Kessler going to guard him? He not. He more likely to be hurt the games you need him to be on the floor against a guy like Jokic than he is to be out there killing him. This is not real, man. People need to stop this. And look, as I've said before, I trade trash for trash. I heard somebody say something this morning. If the Washington Wizards are willing to make Gabe Vincent somebody they'll take on for Valanciunas, they'd be willing to give up 2 second-round picks. No, Valanciunas is just as washed as Gabe Vincent. Wash for wash. That's it. You can have my wash talent, I'll take your wash talent. I ain't giving you no second-round picks. You give me second-round picks. Valanciunas is washed. I ain't no fool. I know that boy ain't going to be available when I need him to be. If you think Gabe Vincent ain't going to be available when you need him to be, I definitely know Valanciunas ain't going to be available when I need him to be. Stop this. You give me 2 second-round picks. I give you Gabe Vincent. You give me Valanciunas, and we happy. That's what we really doing. That's what I'm telling y'all. Laker fans, y'all going to mortgage away our entire future instead of putting us in positions to get more of it, so that we'll have an opportunity to land on our feet upon LeBron's departure. That is the only thing our franchise should be really responsible for doing at this point. They didn't draft LeBron's kid, gave him a no-trade clause. We don't owe that man another thing. We don't owe him another damn thing, least of all our damn future. No. I'm sorry. And Anthony Davis, I value a lot. You do need to get him a center, but not at the cost of our future. Not at the cost of having the ability to tank if you need to. No. Do not Phoenix us. Do not Phoenix us. That's all I'm saying. Phoenix gave away all their picks. Clippers gave away all their picks. Do not do that to our Lakers. Don't do it. Value our future. Understand that the same demands you have to put in excellence on the floor is the same demands you're going to have later. And holding on to your picks gives you a much better chance of doing that at that time. If you don't care about meeting the demands of tomorrow, and you mortgage all of them today, the headaches that you're going to provide yourself tomorrow are going to be 10 times worse than the headache you're feeling right now. And so I'm going to stay on this hill until it's over with. I want people to understand this. Mortgaging picks doesn't make any sense unless you're bringing back something that you can trade, that you would be willing to trade away for more picks. And then even in the event that you're doing so, as if we've already made this case a million times, it may not actually work out like that, because that's how injuries can tend to affect situations in an 82-game schedule. So picture what it's going to cost to get a player that you really, really want. Maybe you want to go after Paolo Banchero upon Bron's departure. What's it going to cost to get him? Are you going to have it? Or are you just gonna go without him? We got this guy on our list. That's cool, but are you gonna be able to get him? Not if you give away 2 picks for Dorian Finney-Smith and freaking Dennis Schroeder. No, you ain't gonna have nothing. Like I want people to see the bigger picture, care about the bigger picture. And if they don't, if they're too short-sighted to do so, these are the same individuals who are going to have high demands at that point as well as they do now. Just like they want you to trade away all the future to get a role player to complete their roster, they're going to want that same thing come 2031. Trust me. Laker fans are the same every year. The demands are the same every year. So either you're going to have enough gunpowder to do it or you're not. Right now, you don't have enough gunpowder to do it. Why? Because you did stupid stuff in the past and made it so that you cannot. Let's stop doing that. BDL 44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.